We are attempting May June 24 paper 1 variant 3. All right, so the first question is, what is not an example of public good? Education is not a public good, it's a merit good. As for flood control system, it is public good. National defense is public good. Street light is public good. Yes, so the answer is A. The diagram shows production possibility curve for an economy that produces two goods, X and Y. So you're producing two goods, good X and good Y. When will the opportunity cost of producing more of good X be the highest? So when will the opportunity cost be the highest when you want to produce more of good X? So it's very simple. Let's take an example of point E. If you're talking about point E, this is good Y and this is good X. If I move to point F from point E, my good Y is increasing and my good X is increasing as well. So E to F is not a possible answer. All right. E to F is wrong because we have to find out opportunity cost. And if we are producing more of Y, if we are producing more of X, sorry, more of X should lead to decrease in Y. All right. So your Y should decrease, but in this case, your Y is increasing. So this is wrong. Let's move to the other option. The other option is E to G. Again, if you move from E to G, your Y and X both are increasing. All right. None of them are decreasing. It's wrong again. If you move from E to H, from E to H, your X is increasing, but your Y is same. Again, this is wrong answer because in opportunity cost, we have to find out something that is being reduced. So from E, it is not possible. What if from point G? From point G to H, this was my Y, this is my X. If I move from point G to point H, my Y will reduce and my X will increase. So this is my correct answer. Clear?
Yeah.
Which activity illustrates the consumption of a free good? So in a free good, the no opportunity cost is required and factors of production are not required. A farmer using water taken from river, a patient visiting medical facility provided by a charity, a person breathing air in the countryside, a person eating their birthday cake given as a gift. So the best example that we have in these four options is the free air one, where you're breathing free air, and the free air is a free good. If we talk about farmer using water taken from river, sometimes river is not up to its peak because it depends upon weather and depends upon glaciers and all that. Sometimes the flow of river is not that high, so there could be some problems. What is essential to eliminate scarcity? Scarcity is unlimited wants, unlimited resources. So what should you do to eliminate scarcity? Option A is the existence of sufficient resources to meet all the, I mean, the first option is correct, that you need sufficient resources to fulfill all the needs and wants of consumers. As for B, producers consistently produce in excess demand. No, excess demand means there is shortage. The government has surplus budget. No, there is equilibrium in all market. Equilibrium does not mean that everyone's needs and wants are being fulfilled. So the answer is A. What will encourage a higher degree of division of labor? So how will people go to a higher degree of division of labor? Firms wishing for a greater level of self-sufficiency. You see, when you're talking about self-sufficiency, this means that you should have multiple skills. All right. That if I want to become a teacher, not specific to a subject, but I want to become a teacher, I should know how to teach each and every subject, which means that I'm self-sufficient, but I'm actually not. This means that when we divide our resources, when we work according to the specific skill that we have, this results in division of labor. So if you become self-sufficient, this will not increase division of labor, this will decrease division of labor. Firms wishing to increase their flexibility in production, again, they'll have to learn new skills. They will not focus on one specific skill only. So they'll have to learn multiple skills. This is also a wrong answer. Firms wishing to raise their level of productivity, yes. Division of labor helps in increased productivity. This is a possible, this is a proper benefit. Firms wishing to reduce their level of risk. So this is also not a correct answer because you cannot reduce your level of risk through division of labor. So the answer is C. Which business is likely to be the slowest to alter its output in response to a sustained increase in demand for its product? Which means that a product should have an inelastic supply. It cannot alter according to consumers' needs. A fast food restaurant, it can change itself according to consumers' demand because let's say if a consumer is complaining about a specific dish there, the chef will have to work on it, right? So it can change easily. Household cleaning service, again, it's a one-to-one personal service. The operation in a tertiary sector, it can change. Newspaper printer, yes, it can change as well. As for oil exploration company, because it belongs to a primary stage of production and requires a lot of heavy machinery and a lot of engineers and all the workers, a lot of workers are there. So it will be difficult for a firm such as this scope to change itself according to consumers' needs and wants. It will take time. A company uses large amount of gas to produce steel. The supplies of gas are reduced at the same time as the market of steel is hit by recession. So what can be said about the equilibrium? Let's draw the diagram. We are talking about steel, right? So this is the demand and supply curve of steel. This is your initial price and this is your initial quantity. All right. Now, the steel producer uses gas. All right. The steel producer uses gas. And right now, the supply of gas is very low. So this will also affect the production of steel as well, right? This will affect the production of steel as well. Because your supply curve of steel will shift leftwards like this. Everything clear up till now?
Yes, sir.
Moving forward, at the same time, the market for steel is hit by a recession. So if the market of steel is being hit by recession, this means that the demand for steel will demand of steel will fall as well. So the demand for steel will shift leftwards like this from D to D1. So this is your new equilibrium. What about quantity? Your quantity is falling. What about your price? Your price is uncertain because you can see it is same. It is same. It can increase and it can decrease as well. So the quantity is uncertain, the price is uncertain, but the quantity is falling. Your answer is C. Clear?
Okay.
Question number 8. A firm is charging a price of $12 for its product and using 80% of its production capacity of 10,000 units per month. All right. Assuming the product has unitary price elastic demand, which price should the firm charge to utilize its full capacity? Now, all right. So we have price, we have production, and we have the full capacity as well. All right. So we need to reach to the value of 1. PED should be equals to minus 1. Right now, you are producing 80% of your production. Right now, you're using 80% of your production, right? So percentage change in quantity supply, demand over percentage in price. You have to link with that. Give me a second. Mhm. Give me a second. All right, so the PED should be equals to minus 1, which means that it is showing the case of unitary elastic, all right? Now, what we need to do is we need to calculate according to the formula of PED. Right now, you are producing how much? 8,000 units, and you want to increase your productivity to 10,000, which means that you should increase it by 2,000. Everything clear up till now?
Yes, sir.
So, first of all, we need to calculate percentage change in quantity demand, all right? So what is percentage change in quantity demand? New minus old upon old multiply by 100. That gives us the answer of 25%. All right. So in unitary elastic demand, percentage change in quantity demand, percentage change in quantity demand is always equals to percentage change in price. So if you want to increase your production by 25%, if you want to increase your demand by 25%, you should decrease your price by 25%. Clear? Clear, Kaylin?
Yes. Okay. Yes, sir.
So you should decrease your price by 25%. So decrease $12 by 25%. 12 minus 12 into 25% is equals to. So your answer is A. Clear?
Okay. Mm.
8.
Hello.
All right. The diagram shows market demand and supply of hotel accommodation. The market equilibrium is at point E. All right. It is at point E. The hotel receives a very large number of bad reviews about the quality of its recommendation. So if you are getting bad reviews, your demand will shift leftwards because it is a form of advertising, right? Which will be the point on the new equilibrium. So bad reviews lead to fall in demand. Or demand will fall and it will shift leftwards like this. So this is your new equilibrium, point C.
Okay.
What is most accurately described as market supply? Again, the horizontal summation and at this horizontal summation of all supply curves. So the first option is supply at different income level. No. Supply at different level of factor prices, which means rent, wage, interest. No. Supply at different price, assuming no change in technology, the market price that is going on. All right, the market price level. Supply at different time period, assuming no change in technology. No, the answer is C. When you are following the market price, not the factor price, not the different time periods. In the diagram, D1 shows an individual initial demand curve for public transport. What could cause demand curve to shift to D2? So the question is that the quantity for public transport is same, but the price level is rising. So it is saying that the price level public transport is rising, but the quantity is same. It is not affecting the quantity of public transport. What could be the reason? And why is there a shift in this demand curve like that? So the first one
Okay.
is,
Hi.
sorry,
Mm-hmm. Nothing. Nothing, sir.
the first option is the cost of running the individual's car fall. So if the cost of running individual's car falls, public transport and private transport are both substitute goods. So if people are moving towards private transport, demand for public transport should fall, shouldn't it? Right? But in this case,
Mm.
your demand is moving upwards. So this is not the possible answer. The individual is no longer able to drive. This could be a possible answer because even if the price level is rising, this means that I am not able to switch to private transport. I am dependent on public transport. So this only happens when a person is unable to drive his own car or drive himself. So this could be a possible answer, but we need to read the other options as well. The price of public transport falls. No, we can clearly see that price level is rising. The price level is going upwards. The public transport services are reduced. If the public transport services would have reduced, your demand curve should have shifted inwards like this. The quantity should have fallen. Clear?
Yes. Yeah.
So what is the answer? B.
Okay. Okay.
12. A government introduces an effective minimum price for a product but makes no other intervention in the market. This policy suggests that the government objective is the government is implementing minimum price. This is demand, this is supply, right? This is the price level and demand that you are following. Government implements minimum price like this. So this policy suggests that the government's objective is, what is government's objective? To discourage consumption of demerit good. We learned that minimum price is one of the policies to discourage demerit good. So it can be a possible answer. To increase consumption of merit good. If you increase your price level, how will a person be attracted towards merit good? So this is a wrong option because in merit good we use maximum price, not minimum price. To reduce the price of private good, where is the price level falling? The price level is continuously rising. To support the income of producer good, income of producer is one of the objectives to be supported. Yes, but it is only supported when government buys the buffer stock. So if there is no scheme of buffer stock, minimum price will be ineffective to secure producers' income. So the answer is A. The diagram shows effects of indirect tax imposed on a cigarette. The diagram shows the effect of an indirect tax imposed on a cigarette. The market is initially in equilibrium at point X. Which area represents the incidence of the tax on consumers? On consumers specifically. And you can clearly see, I told you that the gap between two supply curves, the gap between two supply curves is the gap of indirect tax, right? It is the gap of indirect tax. So the gap between two supply curves is the gap of indirect tax. Now, the way we used to learn what is the initial price level consumer had to pay? This is the initial price level consumer had to pay. Now,
Mm,
consumer is paying this price level. All right. Now,
yeah.
consumer is paying P1. So, the gap between P1 and PE is the burden of consumer. The box that is between the two equilibrium price levels is the burden of consumer. So, what is this box? P1, PE, W, and Z. This is your correct answer. Clear?
Okay.
The diagram shows the supply curve of a product. The government imposes a specific indirect tax of $5 on the product. How will the PES change? Kaylin, where is this graph starting from?
The origin.
Origin. And whenever it starts from origin, what is the PES?
Pardon?
Whenever the supply curve starts from an origin, what is the price elasticity of supply?
Uh, you're talking about the coefficient, right?
Yeah,
Uh, Positive?
it is throughout positive, but is it elastic? Is it inelastic? Is it unitary elastic? Perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic? What is it? Whenever it starts from origin.
Unitary elastic?
It's always unitary elastic, right? So
Yeah.
it is starting from unitary elastic curve and all of these options are others are wrong. All right.
Okay.
15. The diagram shows a country's AD and AS curves since the world economic
Mhm.
downturn 2007 and 2008. Some governments have reduced labor costs and ensured interest rate remains unchanged. So if your interest rate is remaining unchanged, this means that there will be no shift in aggregate demand. No shift in AD, but your labor cost is falling. This means that your SRAS should rise, right?
Yeah.
So where is your SRAS increasing? Only in option A. So this is the
Yeah.
correct answer, 15. The diagram shows the effect on the average price level when aggregate demand increases from AD1 to AD2. Which statement relating to this change in aggregate demand is correct? Your aggregate demand is rising. All right, your aggregate demand is rising. But your GDP is still the same. You are operating on your potential. You're operating on your potential. Your GDP is still the same. All right. Now, what statement is correct? You can clearly see that you're operating on your potential. This means that your real GDP is constant. There is no change in real GDP. There is no change in real GDP. So, real GDP has increased, real GDP has fallen. Both of them are wrong answers. Clear up till now?
Yes, sir.
As for nominal GDP, your aggregate demand is shifting rightwards, which means that we have not yet adjusted it with price, and your nominal GDP is still increasing because your aggregate demand is increasing, right? It is not increasing in the real terms, but it is somehow increasing. So your nominal GDP is increasing. This will be your correct answer. Clear?
Okay.
The table lists the value of components of circular flow of income. government spending, export, investment, import, saving, tax. What can be concluded about the economy from the information above? Now, we have the circular flow of income components. All right, we have circular flow of income components, and we need to see what is something that we can gather out from this information. The first one is it has budget surplus. Now, if you can clearly see what is budget, budget means that government spending, budget surplus means government spending is less than tax revenue. Now, in this case, we can clearly see your tax revenue is 5, whereas your government spending is 6. So there's a deficit, not surplus, there's a deficit of $1. All right, or 1
Okay.
million, you can say. So it is not a correct answer. It has trade deficit. Trade deficit means export is less than import. But you can clearly see for yourself your export is 8 million and your import is 7 million. So there's a budget surplus, not a budget deficit. All right. As for
Which is
the circular flow of income is in equilibrium, option number D. So to find out whether the circular flow of income is in equilibrium or not, we need to find the income level as well. We should have income level as well, the national income, but we do not have the national income because I told you the formula, it's AE is equals to Y, right? It's AE is equals to Y. It is similar to one
okay.
of the MCQs that we did in earlier papers. Let me show you where we found out equilibrium. I think it was this paper. Uh, here. So in this question, this is variant 11. In this question, we had real output. So we were able to
Mm-hmm.
find equilibrium position. But in this question that we have in front of us, we do not have real output, right? We do not have the total real output. So we cannot say that the economy is in equilibrium or not. Clear?
Yeah.
So one thing that we can definitely say is that this is an open economy. Why? Because it has exports and imports. So we are dealing with international trade as well. So we are operating in an open economy. Everything clear? 18. What is a cost of negative economic growth? Negative economic growth means that whenever your aggregate demand is falling and whenever your economy is in recession and all that, deteriorating balance of payment not necessary because if there's a negative economic growth, your aggregate demand is falling. This will reduce your price as well. So if your price is falling, there is a chance that your export might increase. So it is not necessary that your balance of payment will deteriorate. Higher inflation, negative economic growth means that there's a problem going on. Higher unemployment, yes, because once aggregate demand falls, your unemployment level rises. Increased pollution, negative economic growth means less businesses of being operated right now. So less businesses will produce less. Less machinery will be used. Less pollution will be created. Not increase in pollution, but there will be a decrease in pollution. 19. 19. A government statistical office measured changes in income from employment, pensions and benefits, then subtracted income tax and welfare contribution and adjusted for inflation. What did the final figure represent? So it is saying that government is measuring something. We need to judge what it is. So it is using statistical office measured changes in income from employment. So the first thing is income from employment, pension and benefits, then subtracted income tax and welfare contribution and adjusted for inflation. So the first portion is focusing on income. The first portion is focusing on income. Your income, again, your income, your subtracting your income tax, the pensions, benefits, and all that. So the first focus is on your income. Then what are we doing? Adjusted for inflation. This means that we are taking out what? Real terms. We are finding it in real terms. So change in nominal income? No. If we just talk about nominal income, this is being ignored in nominal income. All right. This is also being ignored in nominal income. As for 19, real disposable income. Yes, real disposable income. What is disposable income? Income after tax.
Yeah.
Disposable income is income after tax. So you are paying your taxes and then you are adjusting for inflation. So this is real disposable income. As for real gross earning is income before tax. But in this situation, we are deducting income tax, right? So it will not be real gross earning, it will be real disposable income. Everything clear?
Okay. So that's clear.
20. Which combination of fiscal and monetary policy is most likely to be effective in the short run to prevent deflation in a closed economy? So you are focusing to prevent deflation, you need to use expansionary policies. You need to increase your aggregate demand. All right. So what should you do? You should decrease your taxes. You should increase your government spending, which means that you should go for budget deficit policy, bullshit policy, right? So you need to increase your budget deficit. You need to decrease your tax and increase government spending. All right. So that is a bullshit, a badass policy, budget deficit policy. As for monetary policy, you need to decrease your interest rate. That is how your aggregate demand will rise. So
Mm-hmm.
what is the answer? C.
Yeah. All right.
Which macroeconomic objective is most likely to be achieved by increasing income tax? You use income tax for what? You use income tax for what? Depreciation of exchange rate? No, there is no direct link between depreciation of exchange rate and income tax. Economic growth, if a government is if government is charging a lot of income tax from me, this will reduce economic growth. This will not increase economic growth because I cannot spend in economy that much. Low unemployment. You see, when income tax is rising, this reduces aggregate demand, and once aggregate demand falls, unemployment level rises. So this is not the correct answer. Correct answer is D, price stability, because increasing income tax is a contractionary policy. Is a contractionary policy. Clear?
Yes, sir.
What is not a supply side policy? Government expenditure on infrastructure. Yes, it is a supply side policy. Increasing research and development. Yes, it is a supply side policy. Increasing subsidies on training and education. Yes, it is a supply side policy. Increasing money supply. No, this is contract. This is monetary policy. This is expansionary monetary policy, not supply side policy. When can a policy be classified as a macroeconomic policy? You see, when we talk about macroeconomics, we are focusing on society as a whole. We are talking about economy, all the producers, all the consumers in the market, not focusing on individual preference or individual person. When it focuses on the level of individual welfare, no. Individual is micro. All right. When it is based on the control of monopoly markets, no. Again, we're talking about specific segment of economy, that is monopoly. That is micro. When it relies on the use of buffer stock scheme, we learn minimum price in microeconomics. No. When it involves economy wide institutions and behavior, economy wide, every single individual that we have in economy right now. All right.
Okay.
The demand for a country's export is price elastic if it is experiencing a deficit on the current account of the balance of payment. Which combination of policies is most likely to correct the deficit? Now you need to focus on elasticity of demand, that is price elastic, which means that if you want to increase your exports, you need to decrease your price, right? You need to decrease your price. Your export quantity will rise by a very large percentage and your export revenue will rise. All right. So what should we do? What should we do? First of all, let's simplify this table. Let's break it down. Focus on exchange rate first. All right. What should we do now? That uh if we depreciate our currency, we need to decrease our price level, right? So what should we do? Should we appreciate or should we depreciate our currency? Kalen,
Yes, sir.
if you
If you
want
want
to
to in
reduce the price level,
uh-huh. uh
should we appreciate our currency or depreciate
depreciate
our
it.
currency? Hmm?
Depreciate it.
Depreciate.
Depreciate it.
All right. So option B or D, right?
Yeah.
So option A and option C are completely wrong. We need to choose between option B and option D. So we have to decrease our
Yeah.
exchange rate, which means depreciation. Now let's talk about interest rate. Kellen, if I decrease my interest rate, if I decrease my interest rate, this will reduce saving, increase consumption, and increase investment, which means that aggregate demand will rise and my price level will rise. So should I decrease my rate of interest?
No.
No.
Wait.
Should I
Yeah.
decrease my interest rate?
Okay, so I'm confused.
Just think about it. You need to increase your
Mm-hmm.
exports and your demand is elastic. All right.
Yeah.
So what should you do? The simplest thing that you can do.
You want to decrease the price. Okay, so no, you wouldn't.
So I would not decrease my interest rate, right? Or else my aggregate demand will rise and my price level will rise as well. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm only left with option number D. And as for the standard rate of income tax, if I increase my standard rate of income tax, this will again decrease my aggregate demand and my price level will fall. So that is
Yeah.
my objective here, that I need to decrease my price level. Everything clear?
Okay, so
Question number 25. What is an unintended consequence of the US government restricting imports of cheap Chinese steel? So what is my unintended consequence if I am US government, if I restrict cheap Chinese steel? So let's take a look at the options. US importers of steel pay lower price for steel. If government is restricting Chinese steel, this means that I am implementing tariffs, right? So how will I pay a lower price? I'll have to pay a higher price. So this is not a correct answer. US
okay.
manufacturers become less competitive. Uh, you can say that this can be one of the possible options because when government is restricting Chinese to enter our market, we will not stay that much efficient. We will not work on research and development. We will not try to be efficient. So there is a chance that I become less competitive. Yes, it is true. And also there could be retaliation that if I
Okay.
impose tariff on Chinese product, the Chinese will impose tariff on me. Option number C, US steel makers increase steel production, not necessarily because steel is raw material in nature, it is inelastic in nature. It doesn't mean that I'll produce like a crazy person. It also depends upon the need of society. The US steel workers receive higher incomes. So it is not a consequence of tariff or protectionism that income level will rise if we impose tariff on imported goods. It's not necessary. Answer is B. What is an export of service in Jamaica's current account? What is export in service? Option number A, an inflow of funds to Jamaica to buy shares. This is not even a part of current account. This is not even a part of current account. This is financial account. Earning from US tourists visiting Jamaica. When we talk about tourist, yes, tourist is a part of trade and service. Earning of Haitian
Yeah.
worker in Jamaica sent to Haiti. This is net income. This is net income. Remittance. Sorry, this is net transfer. This is net transfer. Secondary income. Remittance. Because we are sending income that we earned in Jamaica. Export of Jamaican coffee. This is trade in good, not trade in service. So answer is clear.
Okay, so that's okay.
A country imports natural gas for which it has price inelastic demand. So a country imports a product which is inelastic in nature. What is the effect if that country imposes an import duty on the gas? So if I'm importing a good that is inelastic in nature, and if government imposes import duty on it, yani कि tariffs वगैरह, so what is the impact on the price and all that, the effect on the country? The first option is consumers in the important country will suffer a loss in consumer surplus because demand is inelastic in nature and we'll have to pay a higher price level, right? So my consumer surplus will fall. This can be a correct answer. The exporting country will gain export revenue, not necessarily. If Pakistan is imposing tariff on China on a product that is inelastic in nature, so how will it increase our exports? How will it increase our export revenue? It is not possible. Importing countries' primary income will increase. Not at all. Not at all. Because natural gas is traded in good, not primary income. The price of natural gas will rise
Mm-hmm.
in other importing countries. Listen, if Pakistan is imposing tariff on Chinese gas, how will it increase price level in India or Bangladesh? It will only increase price in Pakistan, not
Yeah.
other countries, right? So the answer is
Yes, sir.
question number 28. The table shows the output of good X and Y in China and the US before specialization. So this is the ratio or the production before specialization. Assuming both China and US use 50% of their resources to produce each product, which means that China has allocated 50% for good X and 50 for good Y, and US has allocated 50% for good X and 50 for good Y. So this is how, according to the half resources being allocated, this is the production level that they're producing at. Assuming both China and US have 50% of their resource to produce each product, what will the combined total output be after specialization has occurred? So what will be the total output after specialization if they specialize in a good that they are good at, right? So let's calculate comparative advantages. Here I'm calculating for China. Good X is to good Y and good Y is to good X. So this is the ratio for China or China and US. First, we're calculating the ratio of X over Y, and then we will calculate Y over X for China and US. All right. So if we talk about X over Y, if we talk about X over Y, so X will be our denominator. For China, it will be 70,000 over 20,000. So 70,000 over 20,000, the ratio is 1 is to 3.5. All right. And for USA, it is 50,000 over 20,000. That is 1 is to 2.5. Everything clear up till now?
Yes, sir. Um,
Do you have any
yeah, it
problem?
is.
All right. If we
No.
move further for good Y is to good X. So what will be the formula for China? So when we talk about Y over X, Y will be denominator and X will be numerator. So for China, it is 20,000 over 70,000, which gives me the value of 1 is to 0.3. And for US, it will be 20,000 over 50,000. That gives me the value of 1 is to 0.4. So if we talk about good X, US is better than China, and for good Y, China is better than US. So China should specialize in good Y, China should specialize in good Y, and US should specialize in good X. Everything clear till now?
Okay. Yeah.
Any problem?
No, sir, not right now.
So China is specializing in good Y. From 50% of resource, if China produces 70,000 of good Y, how much will it produce if it allocates 100% resource for good Y? Yes,
Can you
Kellen.
please repeat that, sir?
If
Mm-hmm.
China, through 50% of resource,
Yeah.
is producing 70,000 good Y. So if China uses 100% resource to produce good Y, how much will it produce? Yes, Kellen.
If it's using 100% of its resources, right? So,
Think of it like this. This pencil, the half
mm,
length of this pencil is 5 centimeter. If we talk about this complete
yeah,
pencil, it's 5 centimeter in the center, which means that it's a half length
yeah,
of 5 centimeter. So what will be the full
yeah,
length?
then,
10. You'll just multiply it with 2, right?
yeah.
So if I'm producing 70,000 with half resources, how much will I produce with full resource?
1,400. One 1,403
One
000. So
140,000. So
that's
70,000,
yeah,
70,000 multiply by 2. That leaves me with 140,000. Clear? This is good. Why?
yeah.
And US is specialized in good X. So from half resources, if it is
Mm-hmm.
producing 20,000, how much will it produce from full resource?
140,000, right?
20 20,000 from half resource. So how much fall from resource?
40,000.
40,000. So 40,000 for US and 140,000 for China. What is the total world output?
180. Okay.
Clear?
So one.
Hmm.
1 minute. I'm just writing it down.
Okay.
Okay.
Question number 29. Economists suggest that multilateral trade between many countries is preferable to bilateral trade between two countries. So the economists are saying that instead of two countries trading with each other, it is better if multiple countries trade with each other. Why is this? Option A, bilateral trade means that trade diversion is always greater than trade creation. It is not necessary that the trade diversion is always greater than trade creation. There could be trade creation as well. Until and unless there is you can say a union going on between two countries, there is no as such concept of trade creation or trade diversion because I have multiple options available. I can switch to another country and find a new trading partner always. Bilateral trade misses the benefit of trade with third countries. Yes. If Pakistan is only trading with China, I can also trade with Oman, I can also trade with Saudi, I can also trade with USA, but I'm not doing that. So this is kind of a drawback for bilateral trade. Gains from bilateral trade are less than harm done to third countries, not necessary. Gains from comparative advantage cannot apply in the case of bilateral trade. We learn comparative advantage in the case of bilateral trade. Have we learned comparative advantage in any other form of free trade? No. It is only applied to bilateral trade. A country experiences an improvement in terms of trade. What is most likely the cause? Export price should increase, import price should decrease. A decrease in budget deficit. Budget deficit has, you can say that if there is a decrease in budget deficit, which means that government spending is reducing, tax revenue is rising, this will lead to a fall in aggregate demand. And once aggregate demand falls, your price level falls. So if your price level is falling, your export price should fall as well. Whereas to improve terms of trade, we need to increase our export price, not decrease it. So this is not a correct answer. A relatively low rate of domestic inflation means that we can say that it is lower than our trading partner. Relative, because there is a term relative. All right. As for option C, a rise in its exchange rate. Yes, this is a correct answer because if your exchange rate rises, if you have appreciation of currency, your terms of trade will improve. Surplus on its primary income account. If there's a surplus on primary income account, it doesn't matter because we are focusing on export price. We're not talking about primary income or secondary income. We're talking about export, trade in good or trade in service, right? So the correct answer is C. Everything clear, Kaylin?
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right, so we're done with this paper. See you on Wednesday. All right.
All right.
All right. Take care.